If you are an American entering retirement, you are probably like millions of others, looking at your monthly bills and wondering whether you are living in the United States or on some planet that charges you for every breath. Rent rises faster than your hair grows. Healthcare costs make you want to stay healthy by sheer belief, and food prices make many people lose weight without even wanting to. But the funny thing is this: there are places in the world where 30,000 USD is not a problem and is even enough to give you a decent life, a small home, and a morning cappuccino without checking your bank account. And the three places in this article, Dhaka, Bangladesh, Islamabad, Pakistan, and Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia, are exactly those silent heroes. Not tourist paradises, not places Hollywood ever mentioned, but destinations that can make American retirees laugh because they can't believe the cost of living is that low. If you ever thought retirement meant living frugally, mentally preparing to become a discount hunting expert, then let these three surprising cities show you another version. Retirement can be light, cheap, sufficient, and as enjoyable as a slow adventure. Dream it. Pack it. Go. 3. Dhaka, Bangladesh. A place where an American retiree can live comfortably on an amount of money that used to be a joke back home. Dhaka. Bangladesh may sound like a name Americans only accidentally notice somewhere on a map before scrolling past. But ironically, it is the cities that are rarely mentioned that hold the secrets modern metropolises have lost. A gentle rhythm of life, featherlight living costs, and a feeling that it's okay to slow down. For an American retiree who has grown used to rising bills and the sense that their pension is slipping through their fingers, Dhaka is the kind of place that makes them laugh at the living costs, then breathe out in relief because there is still so much hope left for old age. What shocks many American retirees first is always housing. In the U.S., $30,000 is barely enough to cover 1 year of rent for an average apartment. But in Dhaka, that same amount brings you surprisingly close to owning a proper place. Not a white-fenced suburban villa, but a compact, clean apartment in a safe residential area, completely within reach. And even if you don't want to buy yet and only want to rent, a rate of a few $100s a month is enough to make you wonder whether the landlord forgot to add an extra zero. The feeling of living spaciously without carrying a financial burden is what makes many American retirees start to see their future brighten again. Food is what makes them feel even more at ease. In Dhaka, a simple local meal costs only about $2 to $3. Cooking at home is even cheaper. Vegetables, rice, and meat are priced so low that if you brought them to the U.S., they would immediately be labeled the greatest promotion in history. Older Americans who need healthy eating will appreciate the abundance and freshness of the food here. And the most valuable part is that they can eat well without staring at the bill in fear like they do back home. Even coffee, something as essential to American culture as oxygen to the lungs, isn't expensive. A refreshing cappuccino in an air-conditioned cafe with Wi-Fi is only a few dollars. If you've ever paid nearly 10 USD for a latte in New York or San Francisco, you'll understand why many Americans in Dhaka feel as though they have just regained the right to drink coffee without overthinking it. And just when those things make you smile, the most important part that must be said immediately is the total monthly cost of a full life in Dhaka. An American retiree living alone usually pays around $300 to $400 for rent, about $200 to $250 for food, around $80 to $100 for electricity, water, internet, and utilities. Roughly $150 to $200 for habits like morning coffee, transportation, and light daily activities, and about $80 to $120 for basic health checkups. When all of that merges into one figure, many Americans have to ask again and again just to make sure they're not reading it wrong. About $800 to $1,000 a month for a complete, relaxed life without bills breathing down their necks. In the U.S., $800 to $1,000 sometimes only covers half of a health insurance premium. In Dhaka, it's enough for you to live a gentle, peaceful life without having to ration every dollar. But Dhaka is not just cheap. It also has a warmth many Americans realize they've lost. In many neighborhoods, you'll see children playing in the alleys, elderly men and women drinking tea in the afternoon, neighbors smiling at one another as they walk by. The pace of life here makes you breathe slower, see life more gently, and truly feel the presence of community. Bangladeshis care for one another in small but sincere ways, something that, for many retirees who spent years feeling lonely in cold American suburbs, becomes an invaluable gift. Dhaka also carries cultural accents that are strange yet beautiful. The shimmering Buriganga River in the afternoon, the old quarter that feels like a time machine transporting you into another world, the bustling markets full of life. You don't need to spend much money. There is still so much to see, experience, and enjoy. A city far poorer than the U.S., yet one that makes many Americans feel richer in a way that's hard to describe. Financially, Bangladesh has another bright spot. U.S. retirement income is not taxed. Services like housekeeping, laundry, repairs, and other forms of help are so affordable that you can maintain comfort in your later years without having to do everything with tired hands. Of course, Dhaka has a few things to keep in mind: heavy traffic, occasional dust in the air, and medical care that is not at U.S. standards for specialized treatment. But these are things you can easily manage by choosing a good neighborhood, having proper health insurance, and preparing a bit. They are nowhere near strong enough to overshadow the major advantages Dhaka offers. The story of Richard, 67 years old. He went to Dhaka to visit an old friend, and after just a few days, he realized his friend was living on less than $1,000, but still had a bright apartment, coffee every morning, good food every day, and even saved a little. One afternoon in Dhanmondi, when watching people stroll under the gentle sunlight, Richard smiled and said, "In America, I live to pay. Here, I pay to live." And that is why Dhaka, Bangladesh, although not glamorous, has become a place that helps American retirees regain what they thought they had lost: fullness, peace, and a life that is no longer too expensive to be happy. If you could live in Dhaka for less than $1,000 a month, would you dare to try? Leave a comment to share what you think about moving to a place where the cost of living is so hard to believe. If you feel Dhaka could be a choice for your retirement, please hit like. And if you want to see more countries with an even softer cost of living, subscribe to the channel right now. I still have many surprises for you. 2. Islamabad, Pakistan, the most peaceful capital in South Asia and a low-cost refuge for American retirees. Islamabad, Pakistan is one of the rare capitals in the world that makes American retirees feel as if they are stepping into a completely different space. Clean, green, quiet, and with a pace of life so slow that you feel time naturally softens. If Dhaka is suitable for those who enjoy vibrancy and a strong sense of real life, then Islamabad is the calmer, deeper version, a city that carries the breath of mountains and urban order at the same time. From the very first second you leave the airport, you will notice what makes Islamabad different. the wide, straight roads, the greenery so dense it shades the entire city, and the Margala Hills stretching out to form a soft, natural wall embracing Islamabad. This is not the image Americans usually think of regarding South Asia. In fact, many people who have passed through Pakistan say that Islamabad looks like a European city, but with a gentler local touch. For an American retiree, this is more important than you think. As age increases, you begin looking for a place with a slow rhythm of breathing, clean air, avoiding noise, avoiding stress. Islamabad is the capital for the heart and lungs. A rare city where you can walk out of your house, take a deep breath, and feel relief spreading into every cell. In America, such neighborhoods are usually reserved for people with high incomes. But in Pakistan, with reasonable spending, you can live in a quality, natural environment without having to pay too high a price. What makes Islamabad stand out for American retirees is the wonderful balance between quality of life and cost. While housing prices in America continue to rise to unbelievable levels, Islamabad still maintains prices that make Americans stop for a few seconds after reading them. With just a few $100s a month, you can rent an apartment or a small house in a quiet residential area where there is good security, clean streets, kind neighbors, and greenery visible right from your window. This is a major difference compared to many other low-cost cities. Islamabad is not only cheap, but also stable and easy to live in. Every day, you can eat fully without worrying about cost. A local meal is only a few dollars, and if you want American-style or Western food, you still have cafés and restaurants for expats, with prices significantly lower than in the U.S. supermarkets, clean markets, fresh produce, seasonal fruits. Everything is easy to access. An older American who likes to cook for themselves will find this an ideal environment, both economical and healthy. And right after talking about food costs, the most important thing to emphasize is the total monthly living cost. An American retiree living alone in Islamabad, choosing a simple but complete lifestyle, usually spends $300 to $400 for housing, $200 to $250 for food, $80 to $100 for utilities, internet, plus $150 to $200 for cafe, transportation, and daily living, plus about $80 to $100 for basic health checkups. When adding everything together, about $801,000 USD month for a peaceful, clean, safe, and comfortable life, an amount that in the US sometimes is only enough to pay half of health insurance. The second outstanding point of Islamabad is how incredibly close nature is. Just a few minutes by taxi, you reach the Margala Trails, the most beautiful hiking paths in Pakistan. Older Americans who enjoy light activities like walking, simple hiking, will find this a paradise. Every morning, hundreds of people walk in the cool air under ancient trees, but without any crowding. And in the afternoon, the sunlight falls on the hillsides, creating a scene that makes you want to stop for a few minutes to feel it. Not many capitals in the world give you this privilege, an almost untouched natural space right behind your home. Another strength that makes Islamabad attractive to American retirees is its orderly urban structure. The city is divided into sectors, F6, F7, E7, each sector having its own park, supermarket, cafe, wide roads, and service system. This creates a sense of order, easy navigation, easy adaptation, very suitable for older people who want stability. Not crowded like Karachi, not chaotic like Lahore. Islamabad is like the softer version of Pakistan. A place that keeps cultural identity but has filtered out the hustle. The people of Islamabad are friendly, polite, and have the openness typical of an educated class. Many foreigners live here: international teachers, diplomatic experts, NGO staff, creating a gentle, multicultural environment. Not noisy, but enough for Americans not to feel lonely. In the expat areas, you can find clean cafés where every morning there are a few people opening laptops to work, read newspapers, or chat. The private healthcare system in Islamabad is also one of the things many American retirees appreciate. Hospitals such as Shifa International or PIMS have good service standards, doctors who speak English, and medical costs that are much lower than in the US. Basic healthcare needs, periodic tests, chronic treatment, mild cardiac checks, can all be done without making you fear the bill. For complicated conditions, foreigners often choose to go to Turkey, Dubai, or India, something entirely within the international living plan of many retirees. Regarding taxes and finances, Islamabad also provides an important advantage. Retirement income from the US is not taxed in Pakistan, helping you optimize your income. Support services such as housekeeping, cleaning, elderly care are very cheap, helping older people who live alone still maintain convenience without spending much. Even so, I gently remind that Islamabad has a few things you should know. Summer can sometimes be hot and dry, traffic is crowded during rush hours, and the Pakistan visa must be applied for in advance. But these things do not reduce the quality of life. They are just small details to prepare for. And as a way to conclude, there is a small story about an American man named Howard. He came to Islamabad for the first time to visit his son, who worked in a non-governmental organization. While sitting one morning in F7, drinking coffee and looking at the Margala Hills changing color in the sunlight, Howard smiled and said, "I used to think retirement meant shrinking inward, but here I feel myself opening up more." And perhaps that is the real reason why Islamabad becomes a special destination for Americans retiring. It does not require you to change too much, but gives you many things that you previously thought you no longer had enough money to reach: nature, peace, and a much easier life. Would you choose a peaceful retirement at the foot of the Margala Hills? Share your opinion right below. If this information broadened your perspective, please like, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel to see the next destinations. 1. Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia, where an American retiree can find freedom, space, and an entirely new rhythm of life. Ulaanbaatar. Mongolia is not like Dhaka or Islamabad, and that is exactly what makes this city a unique choice for American retirees. If Dhaka offers vibrancy and Islamabad offers calm greenery, then Ulaanbaatar opens up a very different kind of freedom. The freedom of vast space, of high skies, of winds blowing from the steppe, and of a pace of life so slow it becomes quiet. For many American retirees, this is not just a place to live, but a place to breathe again. What makes Ulaanbaatar special is the fascinating contrast. A modern capital located in the middle of a vast nomadic land, where traditional culture is not swallowed by new buildings. You have big supermarkets, cafes, international private hospitals. But just 20-30 minutes away, you are standing on endless grasslands where herds of horses run by like a wild movie scene. This is something that almost no low-cost city in the world offers: a blend of urban civilization and nomadic identity. For an American retiree, Ulaanbaatar has a golden advantage: a strong currency, but more importantly, the feeling of living spaciously without being confined in cramped spaces or crowded streets. Many American retirees who first arrive in Mongolia are surprised because the cost of living here is lighter than they expected. Housing in Ulaanbaatar, though not as cheap as Bangladesh, still falls into the deep value category by American standards. With under 500 USD, you can rent a clean apartment with good heating in a safe area. If you prefer larger space, a bigger apartment or one with a nice view is also not out of reach. Food here is interesting in its own way. Beef, lamb, milk, and dairy products are things you will encounter often. Foods rich in nomadic character, high in protein, and nutritious for older adults. A meal out is only about a few dollars. Coffee is reasonably priced, and those who like to cook for themselves will find the price of meat and vegetables relatively affordable, although imported fruit can be a bit higher. However, what many Americans like most is not the price, but the quality of the ingredients. Natural, minimally processed, suitable for those who prioritize healthy eating. Right after the food section, what needs to be clearly stated is the overall cost of living. An American retiree living alone in Ulaanbaatar, if choosing a simple but sufficient lifestyle, usually spends an amount equivalent to the previous two cities. Renting is about $400 or $500. Food $200 to $300 depending on dining out or cooking. Utilities, internet. Heating in the cold season about $100. Transportation, coffee, necessities about $100 to $150. Basic health checkups, another several tens to $100 per month if needed. And when adding it all up, the number usually comes to about around $900 to $1,100 USD month for a full, quiet, and spacious life in Ulaanbaatar. $1,000 in the United States sometimes is only enough to pay half a month of expenses, but in Ulaanbaatar, it buys you a life with more space, more time, and more freedom. Another strong point of Mongolia is that nature is extremely close. Older Americans who like light hiking, walking, and seeking silence often say that Ulaanbaatar is where they can hear their own breathing. Endless grasslands, calm lakes, ancient Buddhist temples, and a breathtakingly beautiful night sky are things you can experience just by leaving the city a short distance. Summer air is cool, dry, and pleasant. Those months are also the time foreigners like the most. The culture here also has its own distinct character. Mongolian people are gentle, live slowly, and maintain the nomadic spirit in their daily lives. They value freedom, respect, and are hospitable to foreigners. For American retirees, this is a suitable environment if they seek peace and authenticity, not chaotic, not overly commercialized. Private healthcare in Ulaanbaatar has fairly good quality for basic needs, with English-speaking doctors and equipment more modern than many people expect. Common care needs, blood tests, heart checkups, light treatments, are all handled well. For serious illness, foreigners often go to South Korea or Singapore, which is already a habit for most expats here. Even so, I will just say briefly that Ulaanbaatar has a very cold winter. But those who like dry, light climates and good heating still find it more comfortable than human cities. Pollution at certain times is something to know in advance, but you can completely choose a good area to live in and use air purifiers to reduce it. And to conclude, here is a small story. An American man named Stephen, 70 years old, after his wife passed away, decided to travel around Asia to find a place where he could breathe. When he arrived in Ulaanbaatar in the summer, he was invited by a nomadic family into their GR to enjoy hot milk tea. That evening, in the middle of the vast steppe, he saw a starry sky that he said, "I haven't seen this clearly in 40 years." He recounted that it was that very moment that made him realize there are places in the world that allow people to feel retirement as a gift, not the ending punctuation of a busy life. That is exactly the feeling that Ulaanbaatar brings. Spacious, peaceful, and something that makes the mind feel lighter. A place where place where the starry sky is as breathtaking as Ulaanbaatar? Comment your thoughts right now. If you find it appealing, like. And if you want to see more countries that are soft on price, rich in living, remember to subscribe to the channel. When closing the journey through Dhaka, Islamabad, and Ulaanbaatar, the clearest thing is not that they are cheaper, but that they are valuable. Many American retirees thought they no longer had to live a full life without having to sacrifice their peace. Those three cities differ in culture, climate, and rhythm of life, but they share one thing. They give older adults the feeling of breathing lighter, living slower, and enjoying each day. No place is perfect, but there are places that help you find the part of life you accidentally dropped somewhere between bills and pressure. And sometimes, just one turn toward a new land will make you realize that retirement is not the end, but an opportunity to begin again in a way that makes you happy. Who knows, somewhere among these three seemingly distant cities, there may be a place meant just for you. A place where you can smile and say, "At last I found the life that fits me."